Max Patel was a normal human engineer from Earth. He worked for the Galactic Alliance, a group of planets that tried to keep peace in the galaxy. Max was good with machines, and his job was to help fix old alien technology. But today, Max's life was about to change in a way he never expected. Max stood in the huge hall of the alien palace on Zixar, a planet far from Earth. The palace was full of strange colors and shapes he had never seen before. The air smelled sweet and sharp at the same time. Max's heart was pounding. This was his first visit to an alien royal court. The alien queen, Naira, was a tall, glowing being with many eyes that seemed to look right through him. She sat on a throne made of crystal and light. Her voice was soft but strong when she spoke. "Welcome, Max Patel of Earth," she said. "We are honored by your presence." Max bowed his head slightly and smiled. "Thank you, Your Majesty. I am happy to be here." The meeting was going well, but Max was nervous. The customs of the Zixarians were very different from Earth's. Suddenly, Naira's hand moved toward him. She made a gesture Max did not understand. Max thought she was asking for friendship, so he reached out and took her hand gently. Then, without thinking, Max did what he sometimes did with his girlfriend back on Earth. He knelt on one knee. "Queen Naira," he said quickly, "would you be my partner?" The room went silent. Max blinked. He had only meant to show respect and friendship, but Naira's many eyes glowed brighter. She smiled. "Your words are unexpected, but they honor me greatly," she said. Max felt confused. Then, an advisor whispered to him in a quick voice, "On Zixar, kneeling and taking a hand like that is a marriage proposal." Max's mouth dropped open. He looked back at Naira, who nodded with a calm, happy expression. "You proposed to the queen," the advisor said quietly. Max tried to explain it was a mistake, but Naira held up a hand. "I accept." Max's head spun. The whole court seemed to buzz with excitement and surprise. Cameras flashed, recording the moment for millions across the galaxy to see. Back on Earth, news stations would soon broadcast, "Human engineer proposes to alien queen. She says yes." Max wanted to disappear, but Naira smiled warmly and said, "We have a journey ahead, Max Patel. Will you walk it with me?" Max looked around. The palace, the many eyes watching, the swirling lights. He was caught in something much bigger than himself. But beneath the fear, a small spark of hope grew. "Okay," Max said quietly. "I will." And just like that, Max Patel's life changed forever. After the unexpected proposal, Max's days on Zixar became a whirlwind of new rules, strange customs, and endless lessons. He quickly learned that life in the alien palace was nothing like life on Earth. Naira, the alien queen, was kind but firm. She wanted Max to understand her world fully if he was going to be her partner. Every day, Max attended classes about Zixarian history, language, and traditions. His teachers were patient, but sometimes the lessons made his head spin. On Zixar, Naira explained one morning, a partner must show respect through specific actions. Simple gestures from Earth can mean very different things here. Max tried to remember everything, but it was hard. For example, on Earth, making eye contact shows honesty. On Zixar, too much eye contact is rude. Smiling is polite on Earth, but on Zixar, it can mean you are hiding something. One afternoon, Max was practicing greetings with a court advisor named Vex. Vex had 6 arms and spoke in a smooth voice. "When you meet a noble, you must touch your chest, then touch your knees, then bow your head," Vex said, demonstrating. Max copied the movements but accidentally touched his knee twice. Vex raised an eyebrow but said nothing. "You must also avoid using your right hand for eating or gift-giving," Vex added. "It is considered disrespectful." Max nodded, feeling like he was learning a completely new language, not just words, but how to move, how to think. The palace itself was full of surprises. The halls were lit by glowing plants that reacted to sound. Doors opened with a thought, not a handle. Meals were strange mixtures of colors and textures Max had never tasted. He tried everything, wanting to show respect, but some foods made his stomach turn. Despite the challenges, Max found moments of laughter and friendship. Naira's younger sister, Lyra, was curious about humans and often tried to teach Max Xixarian games. Max was terrible at them, but Naira smiled when she saw him try. Even the palace guards, who looked like giant insects with sharp eyes, grew fond of Max's clumsy but sincere efforts. Meanwhile, back on Earth and the Galactic Alliance headquarters, people were talking non-stop about Max's engagement. Some saw it as a huge honor, humans becoming part of a powerful alien kingdom. Others thought it was a disaster waiting to happen. Max received messages from friends, family, and government officials, all with different advice and warnings. Some told him to break off the engagement before it was too late. Others said to embrace it for the chance of peace and unity. Max was confused. He had never planned to marry an alien queen. He was just a simple engineer. How could he possibly live up to such a role? One evening, after a long day of lessons, Max sat alone on a balcony overlooking the glowing city of Xixar. The stars above looked different here, closer, brighter, filled with mystery. Naira joined him quietly. "You are doing well," she said softly. "It is not easy to step into another world. But you have courage, Max." Max smiled weakly. "I don't know if I'm ready. I feel like I'm drowning in rules and expectations." Naira placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "No one is perfect, but together, we will learn. This is only the beginning." Max looked at the alien queen, the strange but kind woman who had accepted his accidental proposal. For the first time, he felt a spark of hope that maybe this unexpected journey could lead to something great for both of them. Max quickly learned that the alien palace was not just a place of beauty and strange customs. It was a place full of secrets, power struggles, and hidden dangers. The court was alive with whispers and careful glances, and Max was suddenly at the center of it all. Not everyone in the court was happy about the unexpected engagement. Some nobles saw Max as a strange outsider who might take away their power. Others thought the humans were weak and not worthy to stand beside their queen. One morning, Max was invited to a private meeting with Lord Verax, the queen's chief advisor. Verax was tall and sharp-eyed, his long fingers tapping nervously on the table. "You have stirred the court, Max Patel," Verax said quietly. "Many see you as a threat, and some want to end this engagement before it begins." Max swallowed hard. "I didn't mean to cause trouble. I only want to understand and help." Verax looked at him closely. "Help, or change the balance of power. You must be careful. Here, nothing is simple." Max realized he needed allies, but who could he trust in a court full of masks and hidden smiles? At a grand feast later that evening, Max watched the nobles closely. Some whispered behind their fans, others raised their glasses with icy smiles. Naira noticed his tension and touched his arm gently. "Do not fear them," she said. "Some may challenge you, but I will protect you." Max nodded, feeling both comforted and more worried. The queen's confidence was strong, but court politics were like a storm waiting to break. Over the next days, Max met several important figures. Lady Sira, a fierce warrior woman, surprised him by offering advice on surviving the court's intrigues. "Watch your words and your actions," she warned. "Trust no one too easily." Max also discovered the queen's brother, Prince Kale, who seemed friendly but always watched him with a guarded look. Max wasn't sure if Kale supported the marriage or saw it as a threat to his own ambitions. As Max tried to learn the ways of the court, he made small mistakes. Once, he accidentally sat in a seat reserved only for nobles of the highest rank. The room went quiet, and a cold glare came from across the table. Max quickly apologized and moved, but the incident was noted. Despite the tension, Naira continued to show her trust in Max. She took him on a tour of the royal gardens, explaining the importance of the ancient plants that grew only on Zixar. "These plants survive because they adapt," she said. "We must do the same." Max thought about those words. Maybe that was what he had to do, adapt to this new world, learn its rules, and find his place. One evening, a secret message arrived for Max. It warned him of a group planning to stop the marriage by force. Max knew then that the court's intrigue was more dangerous than he thought. He shared the message with Naira. Together, they planned how to protect themselves and the future of their union. Max was no longer just a visitor or an accidental fiancé. He was becoming a player in a game of power, and the stakes were higher than ever. As days passed in the glowing halls of the Zixarian palace, Max found himself growing curious about Queen Naira. She was strong, graceful, and wise, but there was more to her story than the regal smile she wore. One evening, Max asked Naira if she would tell them about her past. Naira paused, her many eyes reflecting the soft light of the palace. "Very few humans have asked me that," she said quietly. "My past is not an easy tale." She began to tell him how she had once been a rebel. Zixar had not always been peaceful. Many years ago, the planet was ruled by cruel warlords who fought endlessly. Naira was born into a small tribe oppressed by those warlords. "As a young girl, I watched my people suffer," she said. "I swore I would change Zixar." Max listened closely, fascinated. The queen was not born into power. She had taken it by fighting for justice. Naira led a rebellion, gathering many tribes to stand against the warlords. It was a long and dangerous struggle. There were many battles, Naira said, her voice steady but filled with memory. Many sacrifices, but we believed in a future where all could live in peace. Max admired her courage. It was hard to imagine the calm and radiant queen he knew had once been a fierce warrior fighting for her people's freedom. Naira smiled gently. "That fight shaped who I am. It taught me the value of strength, but also mercy. To lead is to protect and to listen." Max thought about his own life on Earth. He had never faced such hardships or led people in war. Yet he felt a growing respect for Naira and a desire to stand by her side. Over the next days, Max learned more about Zixar's history. The planet was filled with stories of bravery and hope, of darkness and light. The Queen's past was a living part of that story, and it made Max realize how important this alliance could be. But there was more. Naira told him about the challenges she still faced. Some old enemies watched from the shadows, waiting for a chance to strike. Even within her court, not everyone agreed with the new path she was leading. "Trust is not easily earned," Naira said, "but together we can build a future stronger than the past." Max felt a deep connection growing between them. The accidental proposal no longer felt like a mistake. Felt like destiny. One afternoon, while walking through the palace gardens, Max shared his own fears. "I'm not sure I'm ready for all this. I don't know if I can be the partner you need." Naira stopped and looked at him with gentle eyes. "No one expects you to be perfect, Max. But your heart, your willingness to learn, and to stand with me, that is what matters." Max smiled, feeling hope for the first time in weeks. Their journey was just beginning, but together, they could face anything. Life in the alien palace grew more tense each day. Max and Queen Naira knew their union was not just a matter of hearts, but a symbol of power. Not everyone wanted to see humans and Zixarians united. Hidden enemies began to appear, and threats grew closer. One evening, Max was walking through the palace corridors when a shadow moved quickly past him. He stopped and looked carefully but saw no one. Still, he felt a chill. It was a warning. Someone was watching. Naira was already aware of the danger. Her advisors had warned her of an extremist group called the Shadow Claw. They hated the idea of a human marrying their queen and wanted to stop it by any means. During a private meeting, Naira told Max, "The Shadow Claw plans to disrupt our marriage and possibly harm us. We must be prepared." Max felt a surge of fear, but also determination. He was not just a visitor anymore. He had to protect Naira and the future they were building. The palace security increased. Guards patrolled the halls day and night. Max was given special training in defense, learning to use alien technology and weapons. It was strange and difficult, but he pushed himself hard. One night, as Max returned from training, alarms suddenly blared through the palace. The Shadow Claw had made their move. Max rushed to the throne room, where Naira was surrounded by guards. The attackers were fast and fierce, but the palace defenders were stronger. Max fought alongside the guards, using his new skills to protect the queen. He moved with a mix of fear and courage, realizing how much was at stake. In the chaos, Max saw a young guard fall and quickly helped him up. They fought side by side, pushing the attackers back. The battle ended quickly, but it left a mark on everyone. Naira thanked Max for his bravery. "You have shown great courage," she said. "Together, we are stronger than any enemy." The attack was a clear message. Some would never accept their union, but Max and Naira refused to back down. Max also realized something else. Their relationship was not just about tradition or politics. It was about trust and loyalty in the face of danger. In the days that followed, Max and Naira grew closer. They planned together how to keep the palace safe and how to build trust among their people. Max understood that the journey ahead would be full of challenges, but with Naira by his side, he felt ready. The Shadow Claw was dangerous, but they would not win. Their story was only beginning. After the attack by the Shadow Claw, Max knew that life as the alien queen's partner was more than just learning customs. It was about leadership. Naira's world was complicated, and he needed to be ready to stand beside her, not just as a fiancé, but as a partner in ruling Zixar. Naira arranged for Max to meet with her advisors, wise and experienced leaders who had helped her guide the planet through years of change. The lessons were difficult but important. One day, Max sat with Lady Sira, the fierce warrior who had once warned him to trust no one. She explained the delicate balance of power in the court. "Leadership is about listening and knowing when to act," she said. "You must understand the people, their fears and hopes." Max nodded. He realized that leading was not just about making decisions, but about earning respect. He also met with the planet's scientists and engineers, who showed him their technology and how it was used to protect Zixar. Max's own skills impressed them, and he shared some Earth inventions that could help improve their defenses. Naira watched Max closely during these meetings. "You learn quickly," she told him one afternoon. "That is why I chose you." Max smiled but felt the weight of her words. He wanted to live up to her trust. Sometimes they trained together. Naira taught Max how to use his Zixarian energy blade, a weapon unlike anything Max had seen. He was clumsy at first, but Naira's patience helped him improve. As they trained, they talked about their dreams for the future. Max spoke of peace, cooperation, and a galaxy where humans and aliens could work together. Naira shared her vision of a strong, united Zixar that could help lead the galaxy toward harmony. Their partnership was growing stronger. Max was not just learning how to lead. He was becoming part of Naira's world. But the court's challenges did not disappear. Rumors still swirled, and some nobles watched Max suspiciously. He knew that earning their respect would take time. One evening, during a council meeting, Max spoke for the first time in front of the court's leaders. His voice was steady as he proposed a new idea, a plan to share Earth's technology with Zixar to improve their defenses and economy. The room was silent for a moment. Then, Lady Sira nodded approvingly. Others murmured in agreement. Naira smiled proudly at Max. "You have made your voice heard," she said softly. Max felt a surge of confidence. He was no longer just an accidental fiancé. He was becoming a true partner, ready to face whatever the future held. Together, Max and Naira would lead their two worlds, one step at a time. The day of the wedding ceremony arrived faster than Max expected. The palace buzzed with excitement and tension. This was not just any wedding. It was a union between two very different worlds. Every detail mattered, and Max wanted everything to go right. Naira's court prepared a ceremony filled with ancient Sixerian traditions. The halls were decorated with glowing flowers that changed colors with the music. The air was alive with the soft hum of alien instruments. Max had practiced the rituals carefully, but he still felt nervous. He wore a special suit designed by Sixerian artisans, made from shimmering fabric that reflected the light. It felt strange but beautiful. Guests from across the galaxy arrived. Some were eager to witness history, others looked suspicious. Max saw faces filled with hope and others full of doubt. As the ceremony began, Naira appeared, radiant and commanding. She walked toward Max, her many eyes shining with pride and trust. The crowd fell silent. The couple exchanged vows in both Sixerian and human languages. Max promised to stand beside Naira through all challenges, to learn and grow, and to honor their two worlds. Naira vowed to protect Max and work with him to build peace. The moment felt like a bridge between past and future, tradition and change. Suddenly, a group of dissenters tried to disrupt the ceremony. They shouted accusations and tried to rush the stage. But the palace guards moved quickly, forming a protective barrier. Max stood firmly beside Naira, ready to face whatever came. The crowd watched as the attackers were removed. The ceremony continued, stronger and more united than before. As the final ritual began, Naira and Max joined their hands over a glowing crystal, the symbol of their bond and the future of Zixar and Earth. The crystal pulsed with light, sending waves of energy through the hall. It was a powerful moment, felt by everyone present. After the ceremony, celebrations filled the palace. Music, dancing, and food from both worlds blended together in a joyful mix. Max found himself laughing and talking with nobles he once feared. The barriers between them seemed to soften. Naira pulled him aside and smiled. Today, we showed the galaxy what unity can look like. Max nodded, feeling a deep pride. He knew the road ahead would still have challenges, but this day proved that two very different worlds could come together. As night fell over Zixar, Max looked up at the stars. He thought of Earth, of home, and of the new life he was building here. He was ready for whatever came next. After the wedding, Max and Queen Naira began their work to unite their two worlds. The palace was no longer just a place of ceremony. It was a center for new ideas and cooperation. Together, they wanted to build a future where humans and Sixerians could learn from each other and grow stronger. Max took on a new role. He worked closely with Zixarian scientists, engineers, and diplomats to create projects that would help both planets. They shared technology, knowledge, and culture. Max introduced ideas from Earth, like renewable energy machines and new medical tools, while learning about Zixar's unique resources and traditions. The process was not always easy. Some Zixarians were still unsure about working with humans, and some humans doubted the value of the alliance. Max and Naira faced criticism and skepticism from both sides, but they believed in their mission. One important project was a new space station built between Earth and Zixar. It would serve as a place for scientists and diplomats from all planets to meet, share, and solve problems together. Max helped design the station's systems, using his engineering skills and knowledge from both worlds. The station quickly became a symbol of hope. It represented a future where cooperation was possible, even between very different species. Max and Naira also held cultural exchanges. They invited artists, musicians, and storytellers to share their traditions. Festivals celebrated the mix of human and Sixerian cultures, bringing people closer. Through these efforts, old fears began to fade. Max saw people from both worlds laughing, learning, and forming friendships. It gave him hope that peace could last. Max and Naira's relationship grew stronger too. They were not just partners in marriage but partners in leadership. They supported each other through challenges and celebrated successes together. One evening, As they looked out over the glowing city of Zixar, Max said, "I never imagined my life would turn out like this. From a simple engineer to this." Naira smiled. "You have become much more. Together, we are creating something new." Max felt a deep pride and joy. He knew the future was still uncertain, but with Naira and the people of both worlds, he was ready to face it. Their accidental proposal had sparked a journey no one could have predicted. It was a journey of hope, trust, and new horizons. Years had passed since Max Patil accidentally proposed to Queen Naira. What began as a mistake had grown into a powerful alliance, changing the course of history for both Earth and Zixar. Max stood on a balcony overlooking the capital city of Zixar. The glowing buildings sparkled under two moons, and ships from many planets moved through the sky like shining stars. It was a world transformed. Beside him, Naira smiled softly. "Look at what we have built," she said. "Together." Max nodded, thinking about the journey they had taken. From nervous engineer to trusted partner, he had grown in ways he never imagined. He had faced dangers, doubts, and challenges, but never alone. Their marriage had brought more than peace between two planets. It had shown the galaxy that different worlds could come together, learn from each other, and grow stronger. Trade between Earth and Zixar flourished. New technologies improved life on both planets. Cultural festivals celebrated diversity, and children learned both human and Zixarian languages in schools. But the future was not just about comfort and success. Max and Naira continued to face new challenges. Other planets watched closely, some with hope, others with jealousy or fear. One day, a delegation from a distant star system arrived. They came to learn how humans and Zixarians had overcome their differences and to ask for help in ending a long war. Max and Naira listened carefully. Their story was no longer just theirs. It was a beacon of hope for many. Naira turned to Max. "We must keep working, keep leading." Max smiled. Together, as leaders, they traveled the galaxy, sharing their message of unity. They spoke of trust, respect, and the strength found in differences. At home, their love remained a symbol of hope. It reminded everyone that even the strangest beginnings could lead to something great. Max looked at Naira and thought about the day he knelt before her, completely by accident. That moment had changed everything. "Thank you," he said quietly, "for accepting me." Naira took his hand. "Thank you for stepping into my world." The stars shone brightly above them, promising endless possibilities. Together, Max and Naira faced the future, not as two separate worlds, but as one. Their story was a new chapter for the galaxy, a story of accidental love, courage, and a future forged in unity.